Hello friends, Romans, Corvette owners, Lyle at C&S Corvettes with my Friday podcast. Now, to continue a thread I started a couple of weeks ago when I did the 7 things you're going to hear at a Corvette show or swap meet, today we're going to talk about the 7 types of people that you're going to easily be able to pick out at a Corvette show or a swap meet. Now, before I get into this, I want to put a disclaimer out there that this is purely for entertainment purposes. And if the description I give of one of these 7 people sounds uncomfortably close to maybe who you are, it's all done in fun. I still love you. Don't get upset. This is just to have a little bit of fun on a Friday afternoon when it's raining outside. Okay? So, C&S Corvettes has been doing car shows and swap meets for 46 years now, and I've been here 20 years doing them. And in that amount of time, you end up getting familiar with the different kinds of people you're going to run into, to the point where when they walk onto your spaces or walk up to your car, you can go, aha, I know that guy. So I'm going to give you a little bit of insight into the types of people that we are used to seeing, and we have names for them. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. Again, the 7 types of people you're going to meet at a Corvette show or swap meet. Now, the trophy hound is the most populous creature you're going to find at one of these shows. And what I mean by trophy hound is, this is somebody who goes out Friday night, well before the show, in the dark of night, and they begin cleaning the wheels, the tires, the brake dust. Every conceivable surface of their car is spotless, ready for the show the next morning. They carefully drive their car to the show. They park. They then redo the entire process, and then they sit patiently in their lawn chair and they wait with bated breath until the end of the show when the trophies are presented. Now, if they don't win a trophy, it is as if they've lost a kidney. They are terribly upset. It is the meaning for their existence, and they will get together in groups and argue against the judges, even if the judges are like the local Boy Scout troop, and they will petition to get their rightful trophy. I understand that that is part of what drives our hobby, and I have no animus toward those people. However, guys, literally a $5 trophy. Go to Goodwill. You can buy them all day long for $2 to $3 and have as many as you want. It really isn't that big a deal. But, as I said, it's part of what keeps the cars going and keeps them as nice as they are, so I'm not going to ding those guys. But at the same time, if you don't win a trophy, just be okay with it. No big deal. Second type of guy you're going to run across. I call this guy the Wizard. The Wizard is roughly 80 to 103 years old. The Wizard has been in the car movement, in the car fixing game, in the car parts game, longer than most people have been alive. And this person is a really cool person to know. If you have a problem with your car, talk to the Wizard, because the Wizard can walk up to your car, place his left hand on the fender while the car is running, and tell you that you have a miss on cylinder 6 and it's most likely caused by that cracked spark plug. How he knows this, I don't know. But 99% of the time, he's right. You ask, what about this part? And he's going to go, oh, that was a mid-year change in 1957. Although the early 57s had the carryover parts from the 56. This guy knows everything. He's like Gandalf. And he is a great person to know. Not necessarily a great ton of fun at parties, but if you are into old cars, this is a guy you need to have in your phone, and you need to make sure that you are friends with him, because his information is almost always right and invaluable. So just keep a watch out for the Parts Wizard. He's somebody you want in your life. The other guy, similar to the Parts Wizard, is the Old Racer. Now, the difference between the Old Racer and the Wizard is that the Old Racer knows everything there is to know about performance stuff and cool tricks to make 1960s cars go fast. He's really good at it. The problem is he applies all of that knowledge to cars built in the 90s and the 2000s and the 2010s. Oh, that car's running way too hot. You need to get a different thermostat and run that temperature down to about 160. Well, LT1s, LS1, they're all designed to run at 210, 220 Hell, the fans don't even come on an LT1 from 92 to 96 to like 232. They will not hear it. They will attempt to re-engineer the car to what they believe are the best specs based on their experience 45 or 55 years ago. So listen to them. They usually have really cool stories about stuff they did back in the day. Most of them probably true. A lot of them funny. Definitely spend time with the old racer. But if he's going to tell you about your car that's less than 20 years old, just nod and go, okay, because odds are he's still using 1960s stuff. Now, we get into a creature here that is still pretty populous, but far less popular than the people I've already talked about. That's who I call the restoration police. The police, you've seen them. If you have a car and you've been to a show, you've seen the restoration police. They go around car shows, even just simple neighborhood functions, and it is their duty, they believe, to inform you of everything that is wrong with your car. You realize that that clamp's incorrect. You know that that bolt has the wrong number on it. You do realize that this car never came with that option. These are all probably exactly correct points. However, you didn't ask. So the fact that they feel it is their job to go around and pick apart your car when you haven't asked their opinion can cause some social resonance, let's say. Most of the time it's best just to nod and go, okay. But if they persist, then you tell them politely that you didn't ask for their opinion, and usually they go away and find somebody else to pick on. So once they start picking on your car without you asking to have it judged, you know you're dealing with the restoration police. The other guy that I see from time to time, I call the endless quester. Now, as long as I've been doing this, there's probably 3 or 4 guys I've known in my time in 20 years who have been looking for a Corvette. Not a nice Corvette. Not a top flight Corvette. They are looking for the Corvette. And I have come to realize that that car simply doesn't exist. Because they have been looking for their Corvette, the Corvette that's going to make them happy, for well over a decade. They have looked at top flight cars. They've looked at Bloomington Gold cars. They've looked at custom cars. And none of them are just quite perfect enough. So those guys aren't interested in a car. They're interested in the quest. Which, again, if that's how they want to spend their weekends, awesome. But it gets frustrating when they're like, have you seen a car that maybe would, you know what I'm looking for. Have you seen a car that might fit the bill? My answer becomes, nope, sure haven't. Because nothing's ever going to make them happy because they don't want to get to the end of the journey. The journey is what makes their life worth living. So when you see these guys, just recognize them, wish them luck on their quest, and move on. A lot of guys in the Corvette world that populate shows also I call the cigar and gold trim crowd. Now, oftentimes you will be able to notice them not only from the amount of gold they are wearing or the giant cigar they have jammed in their mouth in your tent, but you'll be able to notice them because every emblem on their car, every conceivable shiny piece is gold. Now, that's not terribly prevalent in the Corvette world. It still happens. But you get into the guys with the vintage Cadillacs or the Lincolns or the old big cool cars, everything will be gold. And these guys are always not young, but they love their cigars and they love their gold. Their big gold Rolex, their big gold rings, and all the gold bling on their car. I don't understand them. They are a creature that while I recognize them, I don't understand the behavior. But they were relatively harmless unless you really hate cigar smoke, in which case they can be annoying. Other than that, they tend to be pretty cool dudes. Now, the last creature, the last person you're going to meet at a car show is called the Scav. Now, we do a lot of swap meet stuff with used parts. So people come and ask us when we have our stuff laid out, hey, do you have a such and such? Do you have? Of course, and we help them. But you know you're dealing with the Scav when you show him a part. And he says, do you have one a little more broken up for a little less money? 'Cause I'm just fixing it up to sell it. There are few words or sentences that cause the hair on the back of my neck to stand up but I'm just fixing it up to sell it is one of them. Mainly because the Scav has taken some car that he has found in the forest, in a garage, under a barn, and he is going to cosmetically make it look as much like a car as he can, and then he is going to try to pawn it off on some poor unsuspecting buyer. My main concern is when he says, do you have something a little more broken for a little less money, he's still going to tell the prospective buyer that he got his parts from C&S Corvettes. I don't want C&S Corvettes associated with things that are a little more broken and just a little bit cheaper. That's not a good idea for me or for the car owner. So when the Scav comes around and starts looking for stuff that's just a little more broken than the stuff you've got, tell him you don't have it, thank him for his interest, and let him go to the next guy, because the Scav is going to do nothing but hurt the hobby, hurt your reputation. Those are the 7 people that you will most commonly meet at a Corvette show or swap meet. If you have others that you think I should add, I may do a second one of these videos. I'd love to hear your stories or your names for the people you've met at shows, and do something humorous with that too. I hope this gave you a giggle, and I hope it gets you into your good weekend. I look forward to talking to you next week. As always, hit the like and subscribe button, and if you have questions or comments, call me at 800-886-5064. This is Lyle at C&S Corvettes. Have a great weekend.